Good afternoon. Considering this is a post-lunch session, I think the time is right to talk about healing, health, and a lot of other things which are considered woo-woo. Now, let me reiterate that we are not on the defensive here. We are definitely not going to explain or apologize for all this because people, when it comes to alternatives, people want concrete evidence. They want proof. So the proof of the pudding is in the eating, and this session will tell you so. So my first question is to all three of you. Since we are talking about health and healing, we first need to define what health really is. Because today health is a number. You have a certain weight, you look a certain way, and you think you're healthy. Is that really health? Um, Gauri, would you please?
Thank you, Archana, and good afternoon, everyone. I am a doctor, so according to WHO, World Health Organization, which is a agency of United Nations, which is uh, doing work concerning health, according to them, definition of health is it's a constant state of physical, emotional, and social well-being. And nowadays, they are talking about positive health, which means total physical fitness, strong emotional fitness, and very good social relations. And that is what health really is.
What do you have to say about this? I think,
Namaskar. Let's begin with a beautiful definition of health which you will possibly understand and accept. Do you get up in the morning happy? Then you are healthy. Okay. So, if you have the capacity to think positive, if you have the capacity to find goodness in everything, if you have the capacity to be able to give unconditionally, and you can sit in one place and close your eyes and say, I love the world, you are the healthiest. That is health.
that's a wonderful definition. And Maya, what do you have to say? How will you add to this?
रिपीटिंग ऑन हर लाइन्स सुबह जब आंख खुलती है खुशी से खुलती है चेहरे पे स्माइल है और इट्स लाइक आई गॉट अ लॉन्ग डे टू गो हेड how is the relationships, how are you able to do what you're able to do to your maximum potential, not just because someone else is doing it better, you need to strive for it. Having holding your physical body, the feelings and your thought, along with your relationships, immediate, external, everything together, is a comprehensive definition of health for me too.
Since we're going to talk about energy and healing energy and conserving energy, um, we often say that, well, I don't have energy. And on the other hand, we are energy. So, what do you mean by I don't have energy or it needs to be replenished? Or what exactly needs replenishment and what is it that gets depleted? Can you elaborate, Sujata?
Let's try to understand energy first. It's very difficult to say what is energy because everything is energy. And you need this energy to do everything else. And there's a very beautiful statement, nor is energy created nor is it destroyed. It changes form. ये है ना बहुत आसान साइंस का फंडा है. All of us know it. Now, when a person will say, I don't have energy, it means whatever he has is going into something that he doesn't like. But if he uses that same energy into doing something he likes, he's overflowing with it. Where does this energy come from? Okay, now of course, it's a very, very large topic. In Ayurveda, there is a very simple siddhanta, which means founding principle. Every time we're talking about health and how to monitor health, we are talking about five basic things. Ahar, Vihar, Vichar, Vyayam, Aushadhi. Okay, we'll start from back. Aushadhi is intervention, something which is given to make a change. Okay, Ahar is everything that comes in. Now I'm going to ask you, what is Ahar? Food? Water? Diet? Okay, okay. Pardon? Breath? Fine. Ahar is everything that comes inside because it feeds you and that gives you energy. It's just simple thing. You look at a nice happy movie, Charlie Chaplin. Yesterday we saw that, City Lights. We were laughing our heads off. That is also ahar because it made a change inside, it made me happy. If I see an accident, I'm afraid. And my energy goes into self-conservation rather than doing something else. That is also ahar. The books that you read, the knowledge that goes in is influencing you. That is also ahar. Nowadays, the concept of energy is sound, light, intellect.
So,
All
Sujata,
these three are
if I
ahar.
may interrupt, you mean to say that whatever comes in through all your five senses is ahar?
More than that, but yes.
Okay. No, you can go ahead.
Yeah.
You can.
So when we are talking about energy, remember one thing. One of the most important aspects of energy is everything is energy. How you interact with this everything energy decides whether you are below, at par, or above. Okay? And the first definition of health was when you can get up happy, ready to give, and love everybody. So that is a time when your energy is above par. That is energy. So there are different methods of getting into this higher zone, and that's healing.
Gauri, now that she's talked about energy, okay, so how do you conserve it? And like you said, is this energy the same as the universal energy? Could you briefly elaborate?
Fine. See, basically, energy, as she has said, whatever comes in is an energy. So, just the physical body or the mind is not the energy. The prana, the chaitanya that is there in us is energy. And we don't need to conserve it as such because it's in us. When prana leaves me, they will not call me, she is Dr. Gauri Joshi, they will say it's a dead body, isn't it? So when prana leaves us, Chaitanya leaves us, we are dead. So Chaitanya, we don't need to conserve, but we need to become aware that I have this energy inside me, I have this Chaitanya inside me, and for that, you need to practice some form of discipline, be it yoga, be it dhyana. Actually, yoga is also dhyana, be it Reiki, be it some any other kind of meditation that will make you aware this Chaitanya is there with me, and all the thoughts, all the karma is whatever we think is calm, all the desires inside our mind are taking us away from this awareness. So it's not about conserving, but becoming aware, and only dhyana can make you aware, and once you are aware about it, then only healing is possible, because then you can make it pass to other people, and that is what healing is about, energy healing is about. Thank you.
Maya, all three of you have had fascinating journeys. And Maya, I need to know what got you interested in alternative healing? What is it that you found wanting in conventional healing?
All right. Very interesting. I grew up basically being a science student. I needed logics. Make me see the reason why I need to do something. And my corporate career was with hospitals for many years. I was the inpatient administrator. There was a time when I felt sick. I was all of 30 years old, perfectly in normal health. There is no reason why a 30-year-old should lose her sense of hearing in 1 year, which from 100% went to zero, and a balance. All the medicines, best of doctors, because I was associated with hospitals, best of doctors, all the this one, medication. everything that could go wrong went wrong. And they said, sorry, it's gone. Your hearing is not going to come back. And they said, you know, you got one more year. You can hear. But the way it was put, it was not giving me hope. In fact, that increased the fear. अगर बैठे बिठाए एक कान की अगर सुनना चला जाएगा, what would happen for the next one? And that was my stepping stone into an alternative world, which I had no idea. All I am ready. The world I knew has not given me answers. Maybe something will come out of the world unknown to me. Would you like to know the results of that?
Yes, please.
8 months later, what all the best of hospitals, first check, second check, third opinion, they said it's zero, nerves are damaged, it's gone. You are not going to get it back. Well, my hearing was restored. And with the practice of Reiki.
Wonderful. Sujata, what made you turn to this unseen world of energy dynamics, so much so that you went on to do a doctorate in it? So what were the possibilities of healing that opened up there? What is it that, resonated with you?
Okay. Some things are destined to happen. आणि आपल्याला कुठेतरी एक निमित्त लागतं. Are you following? In MIT College, there used to be, now of course it's shut down, Center for Biofield Sciences. Those days it used to be called Center for Human Energy Field Research. So I went to manage that center and came across fantastic instruments that were able to detect something that was not possible to be seen by the common eye. And it was non-conventional, meaning it did not fall into high-tech investigation systems that are available in different scientific research institutes or hospitals. So while doing research with these instruments, I came out to know that there is a large field of energy dynamics that is not visible to the common eye or to the common instruments that can really guide all of us to find out actually what is bound to happen or what has happened which cannot be investigated. Now let me just give you a very, very simple example that is possible for all of us to relate with. You're good with Marathi? Anyone over here saying no Marathi? Okay, I'll try. Just 2 hands. Ghasa khawkhawto, right? It's common in these days, right? Does that mean that you are infected with virus? No. It means that your immunity has dropped, that tomorrow if you don't take care, you're going to get into a problem, correct? Now, this is something that cannot be evaluated with a blood test. It cannot be seen in your temperature. It cannot be seen in an X-ray or an MRI, nothing, nothing. But there was this one instrument that was able to visualize the energy field of a person that we very romantically call the aura, okay? And in this aura, it was possible to detect something was amiss. I'm a science graduate, I'm not a medical graduate, and I'm very happy to say that because I was able to think differently. I had very good guides, some of the leading people from the medical fraternity, from the spiritual fraternity, from radiology. So they all guide me and they said, let us find out what the aura looks like of a sick man. Let's find out what the aura looks like of a normal person. And then can we make a change in the aura of people who are showing that there is a disturbance, but they are not yet sick. So this study went on for many years. I started doing scriptural studies. I started integrating with people from around the world. Those days in 1998, 99, when if you turned around and said energy field, aura, valay, satyachakra, things like that, people would turn around and say exactly that. Ye bakwas hai, woo-woo, voodoo. It's not scientific, get out. So that was the time I took the challenge, and we did more than 3,000 aura scans to actually determine what an aura looks like, what is health, what is ill health, what is known as predictive assessment of health. Now, a blood report will show you a disease diagnosis. होने के बाद पता चलता है. But in an aura assessment, before it happens, you know, past memories leave their imprints, and also the weaknesses and strength are seen. This is what ultimately converted into a PhD. And in those days, in 2000, when I received my PhD, it was recognized by UN, but the other fraternity in India and overseas turned around and said, is it still woo-woo?
Okay. Yes.
But yes, that is how I turned to this field. I came in as simply a student, and I'm telling you the truth, I'm still learning. There's no end.
Gauri, you have an advantage. You have an advantage here, okay? Because when everyone talks about this as being irrational, well, you are an ENT surgeon, so you've had 8 years of medical study, okay? And even after that, you realized that in your field, certain things could not be cured with conventional medicine. Is that what turned you towards alternatives? Can you tell us a little about your journey?
Yeah. See, I come from a very background of, ज्याला आपण बुद्धिवादी म्हणतो, that is how I was. After completing my post-graduation, I had responsibilities, and with the responsibilities came struggles. I was no exception to that. At that time, I learnt meditation. Reiki was my first tryst with spirituality. But with meditation, I could manage my life better. So I was practicing it only as my own dhyana practice. But then while practicing as an ENT surgeon, I came across many patients. For example, tinnitus. Tinnitus is a ringing sound in the ear, which is continuously heard by the patient, not by others. It's a very persistent kind of sound. It is a torturous thing, and there is no cure to it. Any ENT surgeon will tell you, we will try medicines. If you are lucky, you will get cured. Otherwise, it is incurable. You have to live with this. So one fine day, I used to feel helpless telling these patients ki you have to live with this. It's easier said than done. But one fine day, I thought, why not use Reiki for this patient who is talking to me about his tinnitus? And I offered him this option that there is no cure in modern medicine here, but Reiki can help you heal. And I offered him a session of Reiki. After 3 days, this gentleman called me up and told me, thank you, ma'am, so much. I was able to sleep after 10 years in my life, and after getting up, today I'm calling you after 3 days. And that is when I started looking at it, that as a doctor I can help, yes, but there are so many incurable problems in the society. Just the way we said, allergies are there, sciatica, chronic pains, we call it actually neurosis, anxiety neurosis, that is what it's called, chronic pains and aches. For all these, it works well, but that was my turning point, that okay, I can be of help for the incurable ailments also, and I saw the symptoms alleviating in the patients, and that is what has driven me on this path even further and made my faith stronger.
So you turned to this when you felt that conventional medicine had limitations,
Yeah.
okay? But after that, after having discovered this, then did you start using it as a complementary therapy? Can it be standalone? How does this work?
First of all, I would like to say here, I don't mix my ENT patients with any of the other patients. But yes, when because I obviously get only ENT patients in my medical practice. But as you have asked me, can this be a standalone therapy? My answer to this would be, even modern medicine cannot be a standalone therapy. Because in any disease, nowadays, almost all the diseases, almost 95% of the diseases are psychosomatic, मनोकायिक असतात. Okay, meaning there is an emotion which is in your mind, which is stressful emotion, which is giving symptoms in your body. So most of the diseases are psychosomatic. Like suppose if we are treating a patient in a hospital, do we think that he is completely healed? No, he always wants to go home and then only healing would be perfect. Why? Because he is comfortable at home. His mind is at rest. एक भगवद्गीतेमध्ये एक श्लोक आहे, बंधुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य यैनात्मे वात्मना जितः अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्. It simply means to come out of any of the misery जो कि disease से होती है misery. Mind is the most powerful healer. That is the simple meaning of this shloka. So when you are taking treatment for the physical symptoms, the symptoms जो हमें दिखते हैं, no, there is a pain in my leg, it's a symptom, लक्षण बोलते हैं हम उसे. On that medicine will work, but the pain fibers which are taking the sensation to your brain about the pain, only 10%, 1/10 of the fibers go to the logical part of the brain, which is called cortex of the brain, which will let us know, okay, here is the pain and you will choose the doctor. 9/10 of the pain fibers go to the reticular activating system and the limbic system, which is related to our behavioral pattern, जिसे हम मन बोल सकते हैं. So while healing, only the pain to go is not healing. You know, the wound to heal completely requires mental relaxation also, and that is why I would say no therapy can be a stand-alone therapy, even modern medicine or any of them. All the therapies are complementing each other. So that is what my answer is. Thanks.
Now, in your experience as a life coach, okay, what are the most common ailments that you have seen people struggling with? Also, this is an era of mental health problems. Do you agree? Because there are rising cases of depression, and so do you agree? So, in your capacity as a life coach, what do you look for, and how do you see this working?
The most common cases is depression, anxiety, panic disorders, on the physical aches and pains, backache, cervical, these, and indigestion, acidity. Simple thing is acidity, which becomes the bedrock of so many other diseases that follow. And yes, as we say, it's not the pain. The root cause, pain is just a symptom. It's a manifestation on the physical body. इसकी जड़ thought patterns में है. But thoughts को पकड़ना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, because we have more than 60,000 thoughts happening in a day. And an average, even an aware person, at the end of the day आप बैठो सोचो कि आज क्या क्या सोचा है, at the most 30 से 40 निकल पाएंगे. What happens to rest 59,950 thoughts? It's in a loop. तो thoughts को पकड़ना मुश्किल थोड़ा सा हो जाता है. What becomes easy is every thought generates an emotion. The happy, what works for you, and not so happy. हम लोग, I avoid using negative and positive. So happy and not so happy. So you tap onto the emotions, and that is the root cause of all the manifestations, whether it's the pain, whether it's the anxiety, whether it's the panic, you get through it.
You are a proponent of Hasta Mudras. Okay, so what is it about the alignment of our fingers? I mean, I just hold my fingers like this and it affects my body, right? How does it work? How does it heal?
It is a many a times. It's, I have my workshops or my sessions in moving trains, aircraft, buses, wherever I'm traveling. We talked about energy. Another set of energy is the space. We are able to have this because of the space. The air, we are able to survive because of the simple thing. Oxygen, breathe in. Carbon dioxide, breathe out. So space, air. Then the fire, we need the warmth of the sun, the water, and the earth. This is another set of 5 energies, the primordial energies that we talk about, and the 5 fingers denote that. Fire, air, space, earth, water. And these have to be in balance for our body, mind and emotions to be in balance. अगर आप एक रोटी खा सकते हो, कोई आपको 10 रोटी दे दे कि भैया खाओ इसको, अभी खा पाओगे या तकलीफ होगी? तकलीफ होगी. अगर आप जहां पे 2 रोटी खा सकते हो, आपको सिर्फ आधी रोटी मिलती है, फिर भी क्या होती है? तकलीफ. You're not at ease, right? So more is also not ease, less is definitely not ease. You need the right thing at the right balance. And through Hasta Mudras, we can easily balance the primordial energies of these 5 elements in our body.
Wonderful. Sujata, today is the era of instant gratification. Okay? You click a picture, you take a selfie, you want it on Instagram. Okay? You're hungry, you want 2-minute noodles. Okay? The 2-minute noodles are definitely going to satisfy your hunger, but as food, they may not be able to nurture you. May not be able to nurture you. Okay? Now, in where people's expectations are so high, where they want instant remedies and instant healing, you propose something like prayer, okay, to heal, which is very intangible. I mean, I'll pray and I'll hope for something very nice to happen. I want it to work, but I'm not sure about it. So, how receptive are people? How does prayer really work? Can you elaborate, please?
Okay. So there are 2 parts to her question. The first thing is instant results, and the second is prayer. And I'm going to bind them 2 together. Most of the audience is school-going children, right? I presume you would be in 8th, 9th, 10th, around? Okay. Now, it took you 7 years to reach where you are if you're in 8th standards, 8 years if you're in 9th, and so forth, right? You have the books with you, the full book with you, correct? Now, at the beginning of the year, if you're told, you're given 1 week to read, and then you have exam. Can you? No. Those people who have photographic memory could possibly learn patapat. You could even possibly give the answer sheet if you had Google next to you to find out. But at the end of it, even if you score 100 out of 100, just because you took reference of something that is like that, like Google, you put in a question over there and instantly you get 10,000 answers. Tell me, did you understand it? No. What is required for understanding is that it has to go through the process to make a lasting impression. This is what I'm talking about education. Now look at the other things. Food. Okay. If you are going to eat so much in one day, it probably fill your stomach. But will it give you the strength that is required to take you ahead? On a daily basis, you have to eat food of a certain quality, of a certain proportion, to be able to gain a certain strength. So you respect nature for what nature has designed to do to look after this natural body. Okay? Now, eating a pill can give you an instant result, and what she's referring to invariably has to do with killing pain or making you go to sleep. These are the 2 times when pill popping gives instant result. But these results are only on the surface. You will possibly immediately lose the feeling of pain, or your brain will be knocked out that you'll go to sleep. But it does not address the reason of the pain or the reason of the disturbance, nor does it change the process wherein next time there will not be a pain. Okay? So in this world of pill popping, you're getting quick end results, but you're gaining possibly nothing. It's same thing. I gave you the example of your education to put it through to you. That quick results or 100 out of 100 because of Google Maushi is possible, right? But you're not going to understand anything. And ultimately, later on in life, when you have to solve real-time situations, you have to have an inner strength that doesn't come with instant things. Now, at the same time, the second question that you asked is prayer. Now, what is prayer? Can somebody tell me? Bolo, 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 bolo. मांग रहे हो. हाय भगवान मुझको ये दे, हाय भगवान मुझको वो दे, हाय भगवान इसको इस क्लास में से हटा दे, बहुत तंग करता है ना? हाय भगवान टीचर आज देर से पहुंचे, आई हैवंट डन माय होमवर्क. Okay, so prayer is asking. But what we do, when I say what we do, is meaning people like myself who have come into the field to take the concept of energy and healing across to others. We are teaching prayer, which is actually saying thank you. Okay, the minute you say thank you from deep inside, you will find that you are overflowing with that emotion or that energy. It's all there inside you. It's all there inside you. It is only we who create our own blocks. माझे केस चांगले नाही आहेत. So tomorrow your hair is going to stand up straight because it is going to exactly do what you said. चांगले नाही आहेत. Okay? You're going to say मी फार जाड दिसतीये का हो? And you will find that all your clothes are not fitting you. Now, then you start praying. माझं वजन कमी होऊ दे. Right? माझे केस मी काळे कसे करू? So, one time in life I came out and said, let me turn around and make this ardent prayer and say, अरे देवा, thank you for everything. जे दिले ना ते perfect आहे. Because you are perfect. That prayer got instant results. And you have to do it to actually experience it.
Gauri, you went on to learn astrology. What is it about forecasting? What is it? Astrology. So there will be forecasts. There'll be maybe something, a course which is charted for you. So why did you turn to astrology? And how does it heal? Can you give us an example also, a small example, where astrology may have
helps.
helped?
Okay. As I told earlier also, my first tryst with all the spirituality was Reiki. And while following these things, I started wondering, do stars also work on us? And then I really joined an reputed institute and I started learning astrology in a direct class, not correspondence course, but a direct class where a teacher was training us. And when I looked at it, I saw the same scientific approach that we have in medicine also, that all the grahas which are in this position or that position or whatever, they are giving changes in our life, and that is what is seen in the life of a human being. So it is basically completely scientific. Only the thing is, the people who have learned astrology started creating fear in people's mind. ये ऐसा है, आप ये पूजा कर लो, आप शांति कर लो, आप अंगूठी पहन लो. That is not astrology. Astrology is about taking a guideline in your life. Okay, so I started consulting astrology and even pursued the education in astrology only because I thought, as a doctor, as a आपण ज्याला सुजाण person म्हणतो, I can help people guide their life on a correct path and not put fear in their minds. That is why I started practicing. And astrology really helps people guide and give the practical solutions. Okay, there are so many people who come to us actually. Okay, I would like to give one example in astrology. There was one person who came to me and asked me that I'm going to enter a partnership with this person. Should I enter with this person in partnership? So I told that person that please don't go ahead with this person because you will face, betrayal from this person. So please don't go ahead with this person. What you can do is you can do a contractual kind of this thing. Only for 1 year we are partners, and then again you draw a contract. So don't be a partner for lifetime. He said, but he is very close friend of mine, and how can you say that? I said, this is my guideline which I'm giving you. He came back to me after 1 year and he said, मैडम आपने जो बोला था वो सही था. पहले तो बहुत अच्छा उन्होंने हमारा कोलैबोरेशन था, but when really we wanted to push further, the promises he had given me, he did not constitute to them, he did not follow them, and we have fallen apart now. So and then came the next question. So there are so many incidences. One of the incidents I would like to tell you, एक parents आए थे मेरे पास for marriage of daughter. She was engineer working, and they asked me कि इसकी शादी के बारे में हमें जानना है. So I told them कि if this person's पहली शादी हो चुकी है तो वो टूटेगी. They were very happy because this girl had married to her love when she was in 12th standard. She did not tell her parents about it. Once she started working, she told parents that I have married this person, and this person she had married to, he was only 10th standard pass, and he was not actually, I mean, see, I'm not saying this because he was less educated, but he didn't have zeal to take responsibility in life. He was doing nothing useful or purposeful in his life. So the parents were worried कि, you know, how can we get her officially married to this person who is not really eligible for our daughter. And that is why I told them कि ये अगर टूट चुकी है तो फिर मतलब टूटने वाली है. They were very happy because वो हो चुकी थी. So they went ahead and you know, they had talk. They took directions from me. So how could we go about it? I told them that you meet that person's parents and talk to them about it, because it is not a it doesn't have a legal standing. So you can sort it out by just talking with them so that she can move further in her life. So this is how astrology really helps.
So, but are you trying to say that you sort of try to preempt certain unpleasant, situations which might require healing later? Is that how it works? Astrology and healing.
See, one thing, astrology is not a healing science. It is a predictive science, but there is a lot of part of counseling in it. Like if you are
That's exactly what I
seeing,
wanted to know.
if you are seeing some unfortunate thing or something which is going to give you sadness in the patrika or in the horoscope, you are not going to tell the person
so you sort of
directly
preempt.
about it. Like you guide the counseling is the major part, and I think healing in astrology is counseling.
Okay, that's the connection that I wanted to make. Maya, you are a hypnotherapist. Okay, first we need to know how hypnotherapy works, and when do you use it? Because you're working with a lot of alternative therapies. So when do you think a person requires hypnotherapy?
Well, hypnotherapy is not Vashikaran. In fact, I used to have a lot of, I was based in Surat and for some time, and one of the days a young person came in and said, मैडम आपकी आंखों में देखने से हमें बड़ा डर लगता है, कहीं पे आप हमारा वशीकरण तो नहीं कर लोगे. So yeah, hypnosis has got a lot of misconceptions about it. We use hypnosis is brain has got certain wavelength, the beta, the alpha, the gamma, the theta. So the more through a particular script, the voice, the tonality, the repetitiveness, we relax the mind, we in fact bore the brain. It's a different definition that you kind of create boredom to the brain, and you directly get an entry into the subconscious mind. That's where the storehouse of all the memories and programmings are there. You change the programming and you change the present day situation. Hypnotherapy gets used for a lot of things, very good, especially for addictions. Addictions is very,
okay.
very difficult to deal with be it smoking, be it alcohol, be it drugs, or be it even food. That also is one of the biggest addictions. So, yes, not every person is open to it or malleable to it. And I work through a kind of way called intuitive, where I know that yes, this is the best modality which would help to heal. It's a fastest route for healing. That's when I use hypnotherapy, and I also combine it with a lot of other things post that, because you need to kind of the person has to take the responsibility. And मेरे पास जनरली आते हैं कि अच्छा हम आ रहे हैं आपके पास में तो मेरा सारा प्रॉब्लम साफ हो जाएगा. I tell them, no. It's not that you're closing your eyes and then you're opening your eyes to a different world. We have changed the programming, we have identified the belief system, but yes, you need to follow certain other things later on, whether it is affirmation, mudras, and bring about cognitive changes to kind of create a complete different reality altogether.
So when you speak of hypnotherapy, okay, I come to you and like someone said that डर लगता है मुझे. So if I'm scared, then you are definitely offering me therapy, but will I be able to receive it?
Hypnotherapy, I would, in fact, any therapy, we don't begin the therapies bang on straight. There is 1 or 2 session of actually talking, getting to know. In the world, we always say, seeing is believing, right? आप देखते हो तो yes, bottle of water is there, you believe yes, the bottle of water is there because you can see it. But our world is little intangible. I tell them, you don't have to believe anything. Just be open. So in that manner, the trust what the client has placed on the therapist or the healer makes a lot of difference. They say, madam, आप क्या बोल रहे हो हमें नहीं पता. हमें आपके हम आपको जानते हैं. आप जो भी करोगे हमारे हित में होगा. So we leave it to you. So that's how it works.
So faith is an important ingredient?
I would not say important to begin with. Important is to be open to it. And yes, once you are into it, faith, of course, is a cherry on the pie.
You also work with emotions, emotional freedom techniques. Now, why do we need this freedom? And what do we need this freedom from?
Can we actually have freedom from our emotions? Yes or no? No. Otherwise, we will not be humans, right? Otherwise, we'll be the androids or robots. No, emotional freedom technique is, as I, in my previous section, question also said, balance is very important. You are in balance, you are aware, so that when you're aware, you're in balance, you're able to take proper decisions, which will help to exponentialize your day to your maximum potential. So emotional freedom techniques. So for example, if I'm wearing a filter of anger, आज मेरी आपसे झगड़ा हो गया सुबह सुबह और मुझे बहुत गुस्सा है, and now I'm meeting Sujata and Gauri. Will I be in balance or will I have a spin-off from the earlier emotions? What would happen? Spin-off from the. So I have not only, I have kind of एक से नहीं, buy one get two free वाला हिसाब है. Would you want that in this manner? No, it spoils all the relationship. So when you come back, when you address, see suppression, अच्छा नहीं, positive सोचो. Doctors के, sorry about that, but yeah, generally क्या होता है, किसी के पास भी जाओ तो बोलो, madam positive सोचो. Is it, does anyone want to think negative? No. But there has to be a method in madness. So there is a method. If I say, no, I don't want to feel angry, I'm not angry, I'm not angry, I'm not angry. One part of your brain is telling, hey man, stop lying to yourself, you are angry. So how do you do that? So there is EFT, you tap along, being truthful about your emotions to self, and then allow it to leave your body and your system. So that whatever is the state you're in, it just lasts only for that couple of seconds, and then you're back to being normal, and normal as in balance. Each one's balance is very different. So rather than using the word normal, I would say back to being in balance. That's how the EFT works.
We have just another 5 minutes. So you have been working with crystals, Sujata. And this is supposed to be an ancient form of medicine with maybe philosophies borrowed from Hinduism and Buddhism. How do crystal work? How do crystals work? And when do you use this healing technique?
Okay, now since there are a lot of students over here, I'm going to give examples.
do a
which
very
is
brief,
very try
yes,
to do it
yes.
very briefly. Okay, you know in our body we have blood. Blood is iron, correct? Bones is calcium, and many other minerals, correct? Now it means that those minerals influence the way we are, our health, and because it is body health and also mind health. Now we know that humans have been on this earth for few, how many lakhs of years? But the earth has been around for a very long time. And these minerals have come onto the earth since then. And right in the beginning, you have heard about Stone Age and then you've heard about Iron Age. So you've understood how man went to find iron in the minerals and made use of it. In the same manner, there are different crystals or stones on this earth that influence the energy within us also. Okay? Now, very simple. If you eat iron, you're going to get strong blood, isn't it? Hai na? And that iron will come in different fruits like palak and beet and all that. Now, there are the whole body and the mind is made up of energy. If I bring in another very powerful energy substance into my aura, it is going to make a change to me. I'm going to absorb energy out of that. The most powerful things and the most perfect things of nature, because ultimately we are nature, we are of this earth, are crystals. Now, perfection in crystals are known as gems, diamonds, rubies, emeralds, sapphires. But there are many other crystals like quartz, agates. You heard about these names, a few of them? They also are able to make a change in the energy grid. We are like a grid, okay? Like you draw on your graph map. That's a two-dimensional impression if it had to become three-dimensional. So these crystals, they help make a change in the energy grid. And those people who are good at crystal therapy, using crystals for therapy, know how to manipulate different crystals onto the grid of a person, making a change. Now I'm just going back to the ancient science, and you have heard about jewelry.
Yes.
Okay. You have seen the older movies and you've seen people wearing on elaborate jewelry, correct? Now, where are the places where maximum jewelry is worn? Around here, okay? You wear on kantha, around the neck, and then you have a big pendant over here, or you have it over here, okay? Now, all of these different crystals are put. Do you know that these are important centers of energy in the body? For those who are seniors, you know about the chakra system. But those of you who are younger, you know the brain, the thyroid, the thymus, heart, the mid, which has got the liver, stomach. So the influence of these gems impacts a change in the energy of these areas and changes your health status. This is to put it in absolute student terms. So you too can learn very simple crystal therapy to balance your immediate surrounding. Now I'm just going to give one important tip to the kids in 1 minute.
Brief, yes, because we have just 3 minutes to wrap up.
Done. Everything around us is on that mobile. The mobile is run by chips on which there is memory. These chips are filaments of a gem or a crystal called quartz. The quartz is able to retain the memory since its inception, which is billions of years ago. And it is able to hold it and transmit it. Now in our body, which is basically carbon, the quartz is silicon, but it influences us. Now what I'm trying to tell you is, every time you keep a mobile near you, you remember that there is a crystal in it and it's making an impact. When you look at the television screen, it is making an impact. Okay, when you use the mobile here, it's making an impact. Apart from the fact that my hair is white, what want to tell you is you are using this crystal therapy on a minute-to-minute basis, and every therapy is not positive. A wrong thought can ruin your health. A good thought can protect you, save you, and make you better. Same thing with these crystals. So, well, it's an
So on
extended
that
part of
note-
negative healing.
On that note, we'd like to have you ask questions. Anybody from the audience has a question?
Ma'am, I will move to the first topic you started. It was health. So I am asking you, will you different between the health and wealth?
Health and wealth.
Yes, differentiate, please.
Wealth is more gross. It means it is more tangible, something that possibly you can, use to buy something more. That is the manner for you right now. And health is how you are inside. Any amount of wealth may not change your health, but your health will change your wealth.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Ma'am, I has a question that if we are having a disease and our mind is not ready to accept that we are not going to cure, but the doctors are telling that you take this medicine and they're best doctors of the world. You take these medicines and you will be cured. But our mind is not ready that to accept that we are going to cure. So will we cure or not?
You, would you like to answer your own, your answer lies in your own question. So if your mind is saying, along the discussion, we all said mind is a very, very, very powerful tool. All right? If your mind is, if you've got the thought in your mind, would you like to cancel that? Say that if the mind is telling there is no cure, would you like to cancel that thought and add an affirmation that yes, cure is possible, yes, I'll be healthy. Very important for you to do that.
I'd like to know if hypnotherapy can assist in insomnia, treating insomnia. Hypnotherapy.
Definitely. And you also have easier way is Hastamudras.
Okay.
Hypnotherapy can, but you don't need an hypnotherapy for insomnia issues. A very simple practice of Hastamudra along with the breath. I had an insomnia patient with me, less than 1 week, back to normal. Proper 6 hours, 7 hours sleep.
Wow. Okay.
There are 7 chakras in our body. So how they make us heal and make us understand?
You have to come and attend one of my classes for that. It takes about a week for you to even understand what is a chakra.
One sec. This chakra.
I think we can have
See,
one
all
last
the-
question before we close for the session. Okay.
Should I answer or should
Yeah,
I?
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Please
fine.
continue.
See, the chakras are energies which are in our body, and each chakra has a function. Okay, like there are 7 chakras, so each chakra is related to different functions in our body, and the thoughts which come in our mind are blocking these chakras. So the thoughts which are stressful, if they are removed, the chakras will start working, which is a form of energy which is entering our body. So if our energies are right, our mind will be right, and all the diseases are psychosomatic, our body will also heal when the chakra is healed.
Ma'am, my question is like that. Nowadays, depression is the most common thing. Why is it so, and what does depression really means? How to do overcome it?
What you don't express gets suppressed in the body. When we said, between thoughts and emotions, emotions are very powerful. Emotions are like flash floods. Happy emotions, you will have all the happy chemicals running in the body. But any sad emotions, angry emotions, but today we don't get the freedom. School mein bolte hai, bhai, nahi, baitho yahan pe. You are not given the liberty to express if you're angry about something. So when you're not able to express something, where does it go? It goes back into your body. You end up swallowing that anger. And that is one of the major factors of what we call it as depression, of not feeling good. एक दिन ठीक है, आज सुबह हुआ कि यार अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, that is okay. But if that continues for a long period of time without going into a clinical and other definition, that's what is commonly labeled as depression. And yes, gratitude. Ma'am talked about gratitude prayer. For children, start every night. This is one thing, even for children or for adults, for all of us. Say thank you to minimum 10 things for what has happened during that day. And that is one of the simplest way to overcome. And the second is the way you hold your finger. Every night, Ramban hai ye. Take a micropore, buy a micropore tape, आपको medical shop से मिल जाएगी. Tape your fingers gently across the nail and sleep every time. This is called the Gyan Mudra, which directly impacts your 3 big glands sitting in the brain, that is pineal gland, pituitary and the hypothalamus. रोज आप इसको टेप में डाल के सो जाओ, स्कूल में बैठे हो, जहाँ पे भी हो, use the Gyan Mudra, and that is one, this is actually called the king of all the mudras. Depression बिल्कुल फटकेगा नहीं आपके पास में. And memory, concentration all increases.
Sorry. I'll just try to answer your question very quickly. You asked why there is an increase in depression. Everywhere, people are taught to depend on others for everything. Now remember one thing, you are a child of God, and God only makes perfect things. You are perfect and complete in yourself. The minute you realize that in me, I am perfect the way I am complete the way I am, and your dependency on the outside world diminishes, you will find there is no option to get depressed. You will never be depressed because you're overflowing with God's perfection.
Ma'am, one more question I have. If we are suffering from any disease, then we always tend to react to it negatively. Instead of that, how can we react to it positively?
Find that completeness in you. Okay? That is easier said than done. And of course, there is much more. You need to know why the illness has come and everything. So it's not such a simple answer. But remember one thing, when people fall sick, it is only correct to ask for help to become better. But know one thing for sure, you are perfect. It is only a small thing that has made a dent. Find it, cure it, and stay healthy.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sujata. Thank you, Gauri. And thank you, Maya, for this wonderful session.